Hello everybody out there watching on YouTube, and welcome to the 7th race of Season 7 of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series. I am Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Blue Jays 400 at Toronto Lakeshore Speedway, our first of two trips to this track, both with the same race name, the Blue Jays 400. So this is going to be quite an interesting race. I've done some tests with this track. Pretty good, clean, solid racing. Maybe not so much passing for the lead. Maybe that'll change. But pit strategy is definitely going to be a big factor at this track nonetheless. But before we get into everything, here is a recap of the point standings after our previous race. And new points leader Zachary Fitzwater, he actually takes the points lead back and leads by 9 points over Jessica Sheldon after the previous race. And now here's a look at your starting lineup for the Blue Jays 400 at Toronto. And we got a Bulldog Motorsports front row. Rob Evans on the pole with Johnny Gardner, his teammate, starting next to him. Can one of those two win tonight? We're about to find out, as it's time to get the command to fire engines here at Toronto.
Drivers, start your engines!
All 40 drivers now on the racetrack for their one pace lap around here. Now, one thing I have noticed, depending on how you can control the car, you can make either line work at this track. However, I feel like the bottom line is still going to be the preferred lane to run with this particular racetrack. But yes, teammates starting up on the front row with Rob Evans, our previous series champion, defending series champion, and Johnny Gardner. Now, the other drivers for Bulldog Motorsports, they're starting elsewhere in the race. Pace car in pit road. So, ladies and gentlemen, boogity, 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 let's go racing in Canada. Rob Evans did lead the first lap, but he's got a challenger underneath of him trying to take the lead already. Jesse Turner in the 17, who's currently right now the highest running rookie on the racetrack, and he's still trying to get the bottom to work to make the pass on Rob Evans, and he will beat Rob to the line as we got new drivers coming up into the picture. Matt McIntyre, who's already won a race earlier this season, and I believe that race was Oswego, I want to say. And up above is Rob Evans, but now we got a new driver coming up here who's now third on the track, Alyssa Drayson. Now, Alyssa Drayson's had a interesting start to Season 7 for her. This is her rookie season. She comes into this race 13th in points and has only had 2 top 10 finishes to her credit so far in the first 6 races, and she's trying to get her first career win. But she's got 2 drivers to get around. Matt McIntyre, a veteran of the series, as well as another newcomer, Jesse Turner. Now, Jesse Turner, he's kind of been up and down so far here in Season 6. He's gotten 2 top 10s, but is 23rd in points. He has had a couple of pretty mediocre to bad runs so far here in the early going of the season, but this could be a huge confidence booster if he can pick up a win here at a brand new racetrack in Canada. Looked like Matt McIntyre might have had something for Jesse Turner going into turn 1, but I guess he dove it in too much and didn't get out of gas as fast as Jesse Turner did, and ends up costing him a little bit of time on the racetrack. And meanwhile, Alyssa Drayson trying to follow behind to maybe make a move for second, as meanwhile battle on for fourth. Jessica Sheldon trying to take the race, or not the race lead, trying to take the position away from Rob Evans, but just a couple cars behind is the points leader, Zachary Fitzwater. Fitzwater, who's actually won 2 races this season. He won back at North Wilkesboro early in the season, and then won the previous race, and I can't for some reason remember the track off of the top of my head. I want to say it was Pensacola, but I'm probably wrong. As meanwhile, Zachary Fitzwater with a little bit of a push from Johnny Gardner to let him go on by for the position. It's really killing me not remembering what the last race was. No, it was Ontario. It was Ontario, the last race we had, and that was where Zachary Fitzwater got his second win. So Fitzwater already off to a great start to the season, currently the points leader. Right there in front of him is second in points, Jessica Shelton, who is trying all she can to gain as much points as possible to try and get the points lead for herself. But she's still got a few drivers to get around to try and get up to the front. Right in front of her is Alyssa Drayson in the 90. Meanwhile, the top 2 remains unchanged. Jesse Turner still leading, and Matt McIntyre in second. Even though Jesse Turner has led every lap since lap 2, he hasn't really pulled away to a big lead. He's just barely leading right now on the track, as he only led by a little over 3.5 tenths that last lap. And I'm watching Matt McIntyre to see how he's doing as far as lap times compared to the 17. Looks like he might have lost a little bit of time. No, he actually gained a little bit of time, about 0.5 tenth that last lap. Meanwhile, Alyssa Drayson now about to get passed by a few cars. Jessica Sheldon up to third, but look at Zachary Fitzwater. Although he couldn't quite keep the momentum going on the bottom to make the move on Jessica Sheldon to take the spot, but he does move up to fourth for now, and now dives it to the bottom to take third away from Sheldon. Meanwhile, battle on for fifth. Johnny Gardner taking the position away from Alyssa Drayson. We got some new contenders up here in the top 10, however. In 8th currently is Seth Cole. Now, Seth Cole, he comes into this race 32nd in points. He has not had a good start to Season 7 so far, and he's just trying to do all he can to get back up there and get into the hunt for the championship as the season goes along. There you see 9th on track, Benjamin Miles, who comes into this race 3rd in points. He's had a solid start to the season, average finish of 12th in the first 6 races. And he's actually came into the race 12 points behind Zachary Fitzwater, his teammate. Speaking of teammates, there is Rafael Leduc in his home country, in fact. Right now in the 10th spot, and he comes into this race 21st in points. I believe he finished bottom 5 at Ontario this past week, and that's what cost him so many spots in the points. As meanwhile, now underneath to try and take 9th away from Miles, and makes the pass all by himself. Back up at the front, Jesse Turner still leading the race, but just still has not been able to shake off Matt McIntyre. Matt McIntyre still just, he gets close and then sometimes he loses time, and he gets close and loses some time. But with that said, look at Zachary Fitzwater. I think he has been probably the fastest car on the racetrack. In fact, he does have the fastest lap at 22.079. And look at him, right to the back bumper of Matt McIntyre, and is going to make the pass for second. So Zachary Fitzwater, the points leader, trying to show that he is not one to mess with right now, as he's been on a roll here in Season 7 to start. Now he's going to try and work his way up to the back bumper of Jesse Turner, but keep in mind, there is pit strategy at this track, and we are getting closer to the halfway point. You gotta wonder, when will these drivers have to come to pit road, considering they've been racing each other very, very, very clean. But if they can make it past the halfway point of the race, then it looks like it'll only be a one-stop race, it looks like. But before we can get to those pit stops, let's try and do a full field rundown. So right now, Jesse Turner is the race leader. Second is Zachary Fitzwater. Third is Matt McIntyre. Fourth, Johnny Gardner. Fifth, Jessica Shelton. Sixth is Rob Evans. Seventh, Seth Cole. Eighth is Rafael LeDuc. Ninth, Alyssa Drayson. 10th, Benjamin Miles. 11th is Joshua Sekuli. 12th is Caleb Kilburn. 13th, Dylan Young. 14th, Ricky Carman. 15th is Cody Lamas. 16th, Chris Dollarton. 17th, Raphael Fireblade. 18th, Clint Spillman. 19th, Jonathan Zorline. 20th is Carson Gum. 21st is Charles Sanford. 22nd, Julia Katrine. 23rd is DJ Curtis. 24th, Dylan Jacobs. 25th, Hannah Klein. 26th is Jordan Forbes. 27th, Cole Baker. 28th, Jay Jefferson. 29th, Melissa Alexander. 30th, James Qualls. 31st, Michael Norman. 32nd, Artur Castanha. 33rd is Joey Parkhill. 34th, Zach Rogers. 35th, Jake Rogers. 36th, James Shelley. 37th, Ryan Acosta. 38th, Kyle Matthews. 39th, Cole Deaver. And then 40th, last currently, is Henry Sanford. Back up at the front, Jesse Turner still leads, but his lead is starting to get slimmer and slimmer as Zachary Fitzwater has been slowly closing in on Jesse Turner, although lost a little bit of time on that last lap, but now that don't matter because pit stops are happening, but Matt McIntyre electing to stay out. Don't know if that's going to help him in the long run to try and get the win, but he does get a bonus point for leading a lap. In fact, quite a few drivers actually elected to stay out an extra lap on track. Looks like Matt McIntyre's coming in, so is Seth Cole. There's the 90 to 99. Looks like everyone of the second group of cars is going to come into pit road, although Joey Parkhill, I think he might have gotten held up running the outside, and that's what cost him from going into pit road this time, but I didn't get to lead that lap that time, but it looks like he will probably lead this lap as he comes into pit road. And he does come to pit road. And there is Jesse Turner, who looks like he came out ahead of Zachary Fitzwater during the first round of pit stops. And whoa, nearly contact between Joey Parkhill and Hannah Klein, to the point where Parkhill had to slide his car into the pit box. And it looks like 4 tires and fuel for the 38 of Parkhill. Too bad that's going to cost him a lot of positions, and he doesn't even get to lead that lap. It was Jesse Turner who led. So, looks like everyone should make it on fuel for the rest of the race, so no worries about pit stops or anything. Although tire wear might be a question because, as we saw, or as I've seen with the lap times getting slower progressively throughout the race, yeah, tire wear is definitely a big factor. But Jesse Turner's lead actually about got cut in half right there that last lap as Zachary Fitzwater is trying to close in on the 17. And the 17's actually closing in on putting the 71 of James Shelley a lap down. In fact, we got quite a few drivers that have gone a lap or more down. Benjamin Miles, wonder what happened to him. He was up in the top 10. Now he's 2 laps down. Dylan Young is a lap down. So is Henry Sanford and Jake Rogers. And James Shelley is probably going to be the next one to go a lap down, unless he can hold off the 17. But yeah, Jesse Turner has definitely clinched the most laps led bonus points, so he definitely got a great points day out of this, regardless of what happens. But Zachary Fitzwater, he's trying to go for 2 in a row and 3rd win overall this season, in hopes of trying to extend that points lead a little bit. In fact, let's actually now do another full field rundown to see what the field looks like after those pit stops. Jesse Turner remains your race leader. 2nd, Zachary Fitzwater. 3rd, Matt McIntyre. 4th, Johnny Gardner. 5th, Jessica Shelton. 6th is Alyssa Drayson. 7th, Joshua Sekuli. 8th, Rafael Leduc. 9th, Rob Evans. 10th, Caleb Kilburn. 11th is Cody Lamas. 12th, Julia Katrine. 13th is DJ Curtis. 14th, Ricky Carmen. Nearly contact right there. 15th, Chris Dollarton. 16th is Jonathan Zorlane. 17th, Seth Cole. 18th, Carson Gum. 19th, Jordan Forbes. 20th, Charles Sanford. 21st, Cole Baker. 22nd, Dylan Jacobs. 23rd, Zach Rogers. 24th, Jay Jefferson. 25th, Raphael Fireblade. 26th, Melissa Alexander. 27th, Joey Parkhill. 28th, Ryan Acosta. 29th, Hannah Klein. 30th, Michael Norman. And then the rest of the lead lap cars currently are Kyle Matthews, Cole Deaver, James Qualls, Artur Castanha, James Shelley, and Clint Spillman. As we get back up here to Jesse Turner, and he's actually extended his lead currently. He leads by, at that time, 1.1 seconds, as seems like Zachary Fitzwater might have used up everything he had, and now Matt McIntyre is trying to get up to 2nd again. But I don't know if either of these two will have enough time to catch back up to the 17 to hope to make the pass for the lead. Unless these two, Shelley and Spillman, keep racing each other for that final lead lap position. And these two are actually fighting for points, as whoever finishes ahead of these two will be given points, but whoever finishes lower out of these two will sadly be in the bottom 5 and not get any points. So this is actually an important battle in front of the leaders to keep an eye out for, because Spillman's trying to get points and Shelley's trying to get points and not get bottom 5. As it is less than 10 laps to go, and the lead is almost 1 3/4 seconds, as Matt McIntyre finally made the pass on Zachary Fitzwater. Now he's just got to hope and pray that his car is good enough to reel in the 17 to try and get to the race lead. That last lap, about a half a tenth, that's not going to be enough. He's going to have to really push it. That 14 car is really going to have to push it to the limit if he's going to have a shot at getting his 2nd win this season. But Jesse Turner is hoping that he can keep that clean air he has and try and get his 1st career win, as it is 7 laps to go here in the Blue Jays 400, although Matt McIntyre gained almost 2 whole tenths that last lap. So if Matt can keep gaining huge amount of time like that every lap, then he'll maybe have a shot at trying to get the win, as it's now 6 laps to go, as that battle up ahead between Shelley and Spillman has kind of dwindled a little bit, as Shelley's starting to pull away from Spillman. So Spillman currently would be in that dreaded bottom 5. Jesse Turner actually kind of closing in on Spillman, as McIntyre's trying to close in on Turner himself. Let's see the margin this time. Half a tenth again. That's still not enough, as it's 5 laps to go. Although Turner is closing in on his teammate Spillman, but you gotta wonder if Spillman's going to play rough with his teammate or let him go. Margin this time, more than half a tenth, but still, Matt's gonna have to really, really go for it. Even though he's been gaining gradual time, it's just not enough substance to really challenge Jesse Turner. Unless somehow, some way, Turner makes some slip-ups here on the final few laps, and the 14 can reel him in. And that time, almost identical lap times, only 4 thousandths faster was McIntyre. Spillman, I can tell he's definitely running slower than Turner, but I don't know if it's going to factor that much as it's now 2 laps to go here at Toronto. And while Matt did gain a 10th and a half that last lap, I just don't see it being enough. And Turner has caught Spillman, but I still don't think it's going to help the 14 very much as the white flag is out here at Toronto. McIntyre did gain nearly 2/10, but it's just not enough time. If the race was longer, then maybe he could have had a shot at it. But Jesse Turner, he's basically got this in the bag as we're coming off of turn 4 for the final time. First career win in dominating fashion. Jesse Turner wins the Blue Jays 400 in Toronto. Dominating performance for the rookie out of Average Joe Enterprises. Jesse Turner finally gets his first career win after he actually came close a couple of times. Just some bad luck struck him at the last minute. But he does get his first career win, and that's going to be a huge confidence booster going forward this season for that 17 team. But with that said, let's take a look at the rest of the results. Matt McIntyre, man, if the race was just a little bit longer, he might have had a shot at getting to the 17 and going for his second win of the season. But still a great points day nonetheless in second. Same goes for the points leader, Zachary Fitzwater, as he's more than likely going to extend that points lead as he finished in third. Alyssa Drayson with a career best of 4th here today in Canada. And then Joshua Sakuli gets another top 5 in the 5th position. Johnny Gardner with a great run in the 6th spot. Rob Evans, despite not winning the race or even leading a lap, he still got a good run in 7th. Caleb Kilburn gradually was working his way up through the field and finished in 8th. Jessica Shelton faltered a little bit, finished 9th, and then Rafael Leduc gets a great top 10 run in his home country. Then there's your top 20, your top 30, and then the bottom 5 for this week were Clint Spillman, Jake Rogers, Henry Sanford, Dylan Young, and Benjamin Miles, who somehow went 5 laps down. I don't know if there was something that went wrong with the car or with the pit stop. Not sure, but it cost Benjamin Miles a potential top 10 today. And that's going to really affect him in the point standings. But nonetheless, thank you guys for watching the Blue Jays 400 as you see Jesse Turner doing his victory burnout. Next race, we head to Bristol for the world's fastest half mile, and that's going to be quite the race to say the very least. But until then, here are your results. Rookie points and regular points heading into Bristol. This is Levi McIntyre signing off.